Hey folks, James Brandon here with another Exploring Creativity video, and we're going to keep going down the road of taking these old photos, these old family photos from our past, and trying to replicate the look and the feel of those images onto newer versions, or newer images rather, of our lives today. So this is another family shot, and this is actually my wife, and I took this photo. It was a photo shoot that we did for a business that she used to run with her mother, and they stopped doing that when we started having kids. And I've just always loved this photo. I love the look in her face. I love the light pouring into the photo from behind her. So I was going through some of our old family photos, and I found this one, and this is another old scan of her and her sister. So this was, of course, a very posed shoot. They got all dressed up for it, and I want to try to get as close to that as we can using Analog Efex Pro 2 from Nick. So let's just jump right in. I'm not going to really do any work inside of Lightroom for this photo, so I'm just going to right-click it. And one of the reasons is that this is a finished JPEG. It's something that's already been processed. So I don't really want to use a whole lot of the effects that you could use in Lightroom. So let's just jump right in. So now that we're in Analog Efex, we can really just jump right in. Again, for this one, I don't really want to use a preset. I want to build it from the ground up. That's just what I tend to do more often than not. So I'm going to come up to my camera selector, and on the left side, again, I'll go to Tools. And then the first thing I want to do is add a frame around the image. I don't know if you caught it or not, probably not. It's pretty subtle, but in this original scan here, you can see a very faint black border around the image, and I don't remember if that's original to the photo or not, but it's there nonetheless. So we're going to try to create that here in Analog Efex. So film strip probably isn't going to cut it because it's actually, film strip overlays, and that's not really what we're looking for. So I'm going to come to Lightbox, and I bet we'll find what we're looking for in here. All right, let's see. That's close. Probably one of these two. And I'm liking the subtlety of this one even more. And we can go to scale here and really make it subtle, because I don't want it to be that obvious. I just want a little bit of a black glow around the edges, something like that. All right, that'll do it for the frames. The next thing we want to do is create this black and white look to the image. So to do that, we're going to go over to Film Type and click the plus icon. And instead of just adding a tone to the image, we want to make sure that it gets converted to black and white. So we'll go to black and white toned and then look for a good option. Obviously, these aren't going to work because we want a pink, kind of a red sepia tone to it. So I think this one is going to work pretty well. From here, we're going to work our way down and find a good balance here. I don't want it to be faded. I want there to be good contrast in this image eventually. So I'm going to go to neutral. Yeah, I think that's good right there. And then strength, I'm okay with really cranking up the saturation here of the tone. So probably right around there. I don't want any grain, so I'm going to take this to 100, or 500 rather, and then we'll be done with film type. All right, the next thing I want to do is really work on the contrast in the image. So I'm going to go to levels and curves, and I'm going to create just your classic S curve right here. So the bottom of the line is your shadows, so I'm going to bring those down, and then the top is your highlights. I'm going to bring those up and create a lot of good contrast here. All right, and that's an S curve just because it looks like just that. And I think that's all we need in levels and curves. That's looking, decently similar there. So I'll collapse that down. And really, if we wanted to stop here, we could. But this is where it can get really fun in Analog Efex because we can just keep going. We don't have to, stop when it looks a lot like the photo that we're kind of trying to replicate. We can play around with these other, presets and looks and effects and just have some fun with it. So let's do that. The first thing I want to do is add a bokeh to the image. So we're going to hit the plus icon, and then you have this this target tool here, and wherever the center of this target is where you're going to have everything in focus. So, watch Kristen's face there. And then as I move this over, you'll see it become sharp again. I really want to draw the viewer's eyes right to her because she has just this, gorgeous look in her eyes. So probably right around there is going to look the best. All right, from here we can increase the blur strength a little bit to really draw the eyes where we want them. All right, and I think that'll be a good place to stop there. So we'll collapse the bokeh. We don't have to collapse them, but I like to. And from here, let's see, what can we do? Why don't we play around with some dirt and scratches? There weren't a whole lot in the image, but there were a few subtle ones. I don't want to do dust. I want to do more scratches, or maybe let's just take a look at organic. So these are just kind of emulating like a look of, breaking down the photo over time. And I'm not really digging these ones, to be completely honest. That one actually is kind of cool. I like that one. So you can take the strength all the way down to 0 here in the middle, all the way up to 100 and get these black scratches, or you can take it below 0 and start getting these white scratches. And I'm actually liking the white ones a little bit more here. And then we can just take the strength down to wherever we want it. So I'll just leave it right here, okay? And I'm going to add a control point again and put it over her face here and make sure that we kind of keep some of those scratches away from her face. I want to preserve that. All right, so we're done with dirt and scratches, and I think this is a pretty good stopping point. We could play around with like a double exposure. I'll just show you real quick what it can do. I'm not even sure if I'll like it or not, but these double exposures, you can see as I start moving this over, you'll see her exposure come out. And it's got a zoom strength added to it, so we can bring that up or down. But what I want to do here is just increase the size of the double exposure quite a bit to where it's almost not even noticeable that it is a double exposure. And then I'm going to bring it down to the bottom here, and it's just going to create these kind of cool lines going through the image. You can't really tell that it's a double exposure, but it's there nonetheless. So that's just another cool thing you can do, and you can really just have a lot of fun playing around with these. So we'll turn it on and off, and you can, kind of just decide which one you like more. I kind of like them both, but if I had to choose one, I'd probably lean towards this one. And if I'm not liking this one, sometimes it's just a matter of playing around with it some more. Maybe bringing it down a little bit, playing with the exposure balance. So I'm kind of liking it more now just because it's more subtle and I'm retaining some of that contrast. But that's just the joy of playing around with analog effects. You can do so many different things and just have fun. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll talk to you later.